So the Black Cauldron, basically, it starts out, and you got the opening title screen, whatever. That's always fun. Um, but like I said, it throws you right into the dark stuff. So it opens up by telling you that there was a king, and he was so evil that he was thrown alive into a crucible of molten iron. And if that's not dark enough, I mean, it just gets darker from there. But then the movie goes on, and you meet Dalbin and Taran, and you find out that Taran is an assistant pig keeper to a pig named Henwin. And he kind of hates his life. He's like, he dreams for more. He's like a classic Disney princess in that regard. He's just like, I want adventure in the great wide somewhere. And I'm like, all right, calm down, Taran. So he goes out and he starts doing his chores or whatever, but then he lets his daydreams run away with him, and he starts playing around. And I swear to God, when I watched this, I remembered Quest for Camelot, and I realized that they totally ripped this off from the Black Cauldron. That whole being on a farm thing and using random sticks and stuff to, like, fight your farm animals because you want to be a knight and you want to be a warrior. Kaylee got that from the freaking Black Cauldron. She totally stole that from him because he did it first. He did it back in the 80s. Come on now. But moving on. So you find out that Henwin's got all these powers and that you must, never use them because it's so dangerous because someone might find out who and what she is. So Dalbin explains how special she is, and then they use her powers, which I think are really cool the way that they do it. Like, she sticks her nose in the water, and then you get these really cool images. And it's not like a whole story, it's just pictures, but you get a feeling, and it's got the colors and the brightness. And just the animation style is absolutely gorgeous. The next thing about this movie that's absolutely incredible is just the relationships. Like, that Taran is kind of sad about his life and how, upset he is about being an assistant pig keeper. But when Dalbin's like, okay, you gotta take Henwin and you gotta go, you see a genuine moment between the two of them where it's like you can tell that Dalbin really loves Taran and that he's like, doesn't want anything bad to happen to him, and Taran doesn't want to let him down. He wants to do what he is meant to do. So that's always really good. Another thing about this movie that's excellent is the atmosphere. Like, just look at the smoke around the Horn King's feet. It's absolutely freaking awesome. And it just keeps going from there. It's absolutely incredible. Like, look at the design of this thing. Look at his face. Look at those horns and his big hands and those teeth. It's just, oh, he is so incredible. Oh, I love it. Just like, look at it. He is surrounded by millions of corpses, and he's just la-di-da, walking through. Nobody even cares. Nobody takes notice of how friggin' awesome he is or how badass he is. They're just like, oh, the Horn King's out and about. Must just go about her business. It's awesome. And this is one of the reasons why I understand why it was PG. Because look at this. It's great. But then you're introduced to a character named Gurgi. And I can understand why a lot of people hate Gurgi. He can be super annoying, but I love him. I think he's just adorable, and he has very good character growth throughout the entire movie. Like, he does get better. Taran, despite all of his daydreamings, and despite always saying, oh, I want to be a knight, I want to be a knight, is not one of those people who, when it comes down to it, is just all talk. He legitimately tries to save Henwin. He attacks this dragon and gets shoved to the ground. And even when he is bleeding and, like, broken, he gets back up and he starts chasing her again because he tries to save her. And then when he can't save her, he sneaks into the palace of the Horn King, which is the most dangerous thing he could possibly do, just to get in there. One of the greatest things about this movie is the discount Esmeralda that is dancing in the hall. Oh my god, it's so great. It's just like one of the most awesome things ever. I love looking at her. I think she's friggin' hilarious because she's just awesome. As I said before, the animation in this is absolutely gorgeous. It's back in the day before any CG, and it was all hand-drawn, and just look at how incredible it looks. And the Horn King, when he comes back again, like, he certainly does know how to make an entrance with all his magic and all of his stuff. It's excellent. It really, really is. It's really good. So he, like, it's so good because Taran is like, he loves Henwin. Henwin is one of his friends. So when they threaten to kill him, he absolutely won't let that happen and uses Henwin's powers to tell the Horn King where the Black Cauldron is. So, but then he escapes, or he gets Henwin to escape. Um, he doesn't even escape with Henwin because he can only save her, so he pushes her over the side, and then he gets captured and thrown into the dungeon. And this is where I think Taran's character really becomes absolutely awesome, because he's not like this strong guy who's only gonna have like that one single man tier or whatever. He is just a boy. I mean, he is strong, he is a good character, but he is still just a boy. So when everything looks lost and everything looks like the worst has possibly happened, he starts crying. And it doesn't make him less manly or less of a hero, but he's seeing his situation, and he's seeing how bad it looks, and he's just so disappointed in not only himself, but you know, the decisions that he's made and the decisions that led to this being the way that it is. And he cries. So, and then we get my princess Eilonwy. She's just so adorable. The first thing she says is she's like, oh, I hate this place. I do hope there aren't any rats in here. She's like, oh, not that I really mind them, but they do jump out at one so. And she's just so adorable because she's not even afraid of the rats. She just doesn't like them. She's like, dude, stay away from me. Mind your own business. Get out of here. So it's just so awesome. And then when she finds out, like, she introduces herself, and then she finds out that Taran is not a prince, he's not a lord, he's just a pig boy. And she's like, oh, what's a pity? And I'm like, excuse me? What is happening right now? Like, she totally doesn't even care. She just calls him on it. She's like, oh, okay. She's like, well, if you want to come with me, you may. And he's like, can I? And she's like, I just said you could. So she totally saves him. Like, he doesn't save the princess who's up in the tower. She's been wandering around these sewers and hallways all by her damn self with her magic bauble. So then they go, and Taran grave robs, which is one of the best things, like, in a Disney movie. Like, stealing is wrong, and he totally steals the sword off this dead guy. And then they say Fluta. Oh, Fluta! And the best thing about Fluta is his lute, which every time he tells a lie, pops a string. It rats him out. It really rats him out, and it's so hilarious, because he gets mad at it. After Taran gets the sword, he is like, oh, I'll protect you, come on, I'm gonna get you out of here, I'll get you to safety, and her face is just absolutely hilarious, because she's like, what? And that's what her face should be, because she saved him, she got him out of the dungeon, and now he's pretending like, oh, he's this big bad warrior guy, and he's gonna protect the princess, and I'm like, dude, don't. She totally saved your ass, like, 10 minutes ago, and now you're gonna pretend like she can't save herself? Get out of here. One of the other things that I really love about Princess Eilonwy is she does some of the typical girl things that you would, you know, stereotypically think are only girl things, like the sewing or whatever. But that's just because in that time, you are raised to sew, and you're raised to do these things by hand, because that's what you have to do if you want to wear clothes. You sew your clothes. So when there is a rip, she sews it, and she's like so excited that they got out of the danger that they were in. And then Taran's making it sound like he got them out and he's a great warrior, and she's like, well, it was really the sword that did it. And he's like, well, it takes a warrior to wield a sword like this. And she's like, but still, it's a magic sword. And he's like, what would a girl know about a sword anyway? And she's like, girl? She's like, if it wasn't for this girl, you'd still be locked in the Horn King dungeon. And she is absolutely right. She saved him, and he's gonna pretend like he's the one who saved her. Get out of here. And then Fluta's just trying to diffuse the situation, and of course, in a typical fashion when there's a fight, like, everybody's feelings are just on the surface, and she's like, how dare you take his side? And she, like, throws his pants at him, and it's freaking hilarious. And then Taran's like, you know, silly girl. And then, rightly so, Eilonwy gets her feelings hurt, because after all this work that she did, after everything that she went through, after all the stuff that she did to contribute to get them out, he's just going to completely dismiss her because she's a girl. So she's like, she gets her feelings hurt, and I would get my feelings hurt as well, because, you know, forget that boy. But then it's, you know what, it's great, because right after that, Taran realizes that he was wrong, that he was a jerk, and he goes to apologize. And Eilonwy is so strong, because, like, she's crying, but she quickly, when she sees him, she, like, rubs the tears off her face, and, you know, she composes herself so that, you know, because she doesn't want anybody to know that she'd been crying. Not because oh, it's a girly thing to cry, but because she's a strong character. She wants to have respect and be treated like an equal. So, he's like, thank you for getting us out of the dungeon. And he, kind of apologizes for what he did. And then she apologizes as well because she's like, we couldn't have done it without you. Because they both realized that they were wrong. She realized she was wrong for just saying, oh, it was just the magic sword that got us out, when he really did do a little bit of the work. And he apologized and kind of thanked her for getting him out of the dungeon because he realized without her, he would not have been able to help them escape at all. The thing I love about Princess Eilonwy, one of them, is, like, when they're crossing this tree bridge type thing, Tarn is just trouncing on, and Princess Eilonwy has Fluter by the hand, and she's guiding him across this thing. She's being such a gentleman that Tarn is not being. Because, why? I don't know. Because she's a great person, and Tarn is just a silly boy. She's such a hero. Like, all the things that you would expect a hero to do, she does. So then they get to, they fall down the thing and they get into the ferry. There's with the fairies. And it's awesome because the king of the fairies is voiced by the same guy who is Mr. Ages in The Secret of Nim. And if you don't know why that matters, shame on you. But then, after they realize that they're going to have to go get the Black Cauldron in order to destroy it before the Horned King can get it, he wants Princess Eilonwy to come with him. He's like, please come with me. And she's, like, shocked that he actually wants her to go. But he realized that he needs her to go with him because they're stronger together. They're stronger as their group of friends than they are individuals. So then they go and they find the Black Cauldron. They strike the bargain where he sells his sword for the cauldron so that they can destroy it, but then they find out that in order to destroy it, somebody has to willingly jump into it alive in order to get rid of it. So they're kind of all bummed out. And he's all bummed out, and she comes up and she's like, I believe in you. You just have to have faith. And he comes up and he's like, you know what? And he, like, grabs her hand, and it's so cute. But then he's like, you know what? I'm grateful to all of you. Like, he realizes that all of his friends matter and that, like, every single one of them has contributed something to making them get to as far as they are. And then, they get kidnapped, because of course they do. And it's the greatest thing ever, actually, because the Horned King comes and he starts insulting them. He's like, a pig boy, a scullery maid, and a broken down minstrel. And it's so funny because when he says a pig boy, nobody's face really changes. But when he says a scullery maid, not only does Tarn's face kind of get, like, all scrunched like he's pissed off, Princess Eilonwy's face gets all pissed off. She's like, ah! She's like, the hell you say? And it's so funny because Fluter's looking at them like, oh, she's about to go off. And it's just so funny. But then, like, the Horned King makes that face and you're just like, okay, sorry, my bad. And you just let it go because, I mean, look at this magic. I mean, look at it. It's gorgeous. So, they escape because Gurgi comes back and he unties them. So Tarn is going to be heroic and everything. So he's like, get, Eilonwy out of here. And she's like, but wait a minute, hang on. Like, we're stronger together. And he's like, just go. So Fluter kind of pulls her off. And then he goes to go, try to stop. He tries to go. Gurgi jumped into the cauldron because he didn't want Tarn to do it. So Tarn goes to try to save Gurgi. He's like, maybe we can protect him. So he goes to do it, but then Eilonwy comes back. She's like pulling Fluter. She's like, we're going back. She's like, come on, come along. And then the Horned King tries to throw Tarn into the cauldron, but ends up getting sucked in himself. And this is one of the greatest scenes ever. Look at the freaking artwork of this. Like, his entire, not only is his body disintegrating in that moment, his entire soul is being, like, sucked into this thing. And it is absolutely gorgeous to watch. All the colors and all of the artwork, everything. It's so, so pretty. It's so good. So then, they escape the castle and everything, and then the witches come back and try to take the cauldron, but Fluter's like, we never give anything away for free, so they're going to give him back his sword. But he says that he would rather trade his sword, he would rather not have the sword, but he would trade the cauldron for Gurgi. So the witches give him back Gurgi, and then the first thing that Gurgi does when he comes back is jump on Taran and Eilonwy and then smoosh their faces together in the most unromantic kiss ever. But it's just so adorable. And then, you know, Gurgi grabs hold of Taran's hand, and then Taran grabs hold of Eilonwy's hand, and then she grabs hold of Fflewddir's hand, and they all walk off together because the most important thing was not the romance. The most important thing about this movie was their friendship. The friendship of the four of them. Of how Gurgi started off as just this annoying little guy who Taran didn't even want to be a part of, but then ended up, you know, loving because of the decisions that he made and the character growth that he had. Eilonwy, who was just, you know, they were just turning into friends, but they realized that maybe they could be a little bit something more, but it doesn't really go into that much detail because it is more focused on the friendship, and I think that they are a little bit younger in this movie, so they're not like 16 or 18. I think that they are on the younger side. I would say that they're about 13 or 14. So it's more that they're focused on their friendship than their romance. And then Fflewddir, who's, you know, an older man or whatever, it doesn't matter because there's nothing romantic going on with that either. It's all about friendship. It's all about, you know, Taran wants to protect Eilonwy because he wants to be strong for her. She wants to be strong for, you know, both of them because she wants to prove that she is strong, and she is just by being the kind-hearted person that she is, because she does take care of Fflewddir. She fixes his pants, she helps him across the bridge, she doesn't abandon him, she's always holding on to him to make sure that he is safe, because, you know, I think because he's a little bit older, she wanted to make sure that he was just protected. But it's their friendship and the strength of their combined efforts that really make this movie excellent, because it really is good, and I don't understand why people don't like this movie. I feel like the artwork is excellent, the friendships are excellent, everything in this movie is just absolutely excellent, and I don't know why people don't appreciate it more. So, I mean, I know it was a long rant, and I apologize, but I feel like more people should watch this movie, and they should understand it, and those are some of my reasons why.